We're going to go ahead and start the meeting, and if we could have a roll call, please.
Mr. Williams?
Here.
Mr. Demakia? Mr. Sturgill?
Here.
Mr. Ballard?
Here.
Mr. Smith?
Present.
And if we could stand for the pledge, please. I pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
We have no visitors to speak of. Thank you for being here who was here. No hearing of the public? Anyone? No? No minutes to approve. So let's just jump down if we can, if it's okay, if we jump down to the recommendations of the superintendent.
Thank you, Mr. Williams. Again, 9.01, and I'm going to get more detailed. I recommend that the board approve us to enter into a lease agreement with St. Mary's Parish located at 309 7th Street, Lorain, Ohio, beginning in 2016. It's a one-year contract that's renewable for 2 one-year periods beyond that. The subsequent rent increases per year for $6,180 per contract. This facility will be used for the Lorain City Schools' New Beginnings Academy, who need educational space upon the vacating of their current site. This is a general fund expenditure.
And just for clarification, we may have to amend. This is not the actual contract. This is the letter of intention.
Oh, I'm sorry. Thank you.
Mr. Giardini has met with the legal counsel and representatives of what's really the Catholic Diocese as it relates to that particular site. The board had significant discussion in terms of duration, and so there were some modifications from the previous conversation. So it's been revised, and it is as stated. It would be the intention is a one-year lease with 2 one-year options if necessary. So the letter of intent is available. Board members would like to see it. It hasn't been signed, so I don't know if it's still a draft or exactly how that is. Any questions?
Well, I think I'd like to see the particulars before we vote.
Yep.
Back up.
And again, this is this is part of our short-term scenario. We've had significant discussion. I think we'll anticipate our next regular board meeting with a formal presentation.
We'll have a lot more information presented to you the next board meeting, but again, I do agree, Mr. Williams. This is, as we discussed last time, we need a short-term plan to prepare for a long-term plan. And St. Mary's is an excellent facility, but it does not meet our long-term educational programmatic needs for our alternative schools.
Why are we leasing space when we have more space than we have students now? Her building has got room for 300, that's at Longfellow, 300 more students than the anticipated enrollment. Actually, when you look at the numbers, we have 2 elementary buildings too many and 1 middle school too many, based on anticipated enrollment. So we're going to spend money on a building that's 92 years old, isolate our students from the rest of the, understand they wouldn't be in the same classes in any case, but isolating them. And I've read the report from Clemson, and nowhere does it say we need to move into St. Mary's. In fact, what it does say, St. Mary's won't even meet the short-term goal or the long-term goal. A site that has amenities to accommodate academics, arts, PE, safety. Has there been a fire inspection? Jeff?
No, not,
Please, Jeff.
not until we actually get a contract, and there has been a previous school that was just in there.
Was there a fire inspection?
Not yet.
There will be before we finalize. Is this final, or
No, this is, Jim, this is.
Is this non-binding?
This is a letter of intent.
Okay.
It spells out the intentions of both parties. They will draft the appropriate terms in the lease. They will do all due diligence, be it environmental, fire, whatever, electrical, the typical things that would have to be done.
One of the problems in Ohio right now that, in fact, House Bill 512 is pending governor's signature, buildings that are in use that were built before 1990. St. Mary's, by the way, was built in 1923. It's 92 years old. There's a high frequency of lead contamination in the water. And the House Bill 512 is to provide economic relief through the Ohio Facilities Construction Commission to school districts to first, that have buildings in that case, that shape, that age, to first test the water, and then if plumbing needs to be done, money to help defray that cost. I don't know if that money would apply to any property. It applies to public or private schools. But whether it would apply to a rental, I'm not sure. The last time, just as a point of history, the last time we did this, a few years ago, we moved into St. Stanislaus, closed parochial school. And before we moved in, the fire department required us to put in a fire alarm system. That was $40,000. And we leased space in the former Lorain Family Y on Tower Boulevard, and that was so dangerous that a fire alarm system would not solve the problem. We had to pay an on-duty fireman to sit in that building at all times students were present at about $50 an hour, just in case a fire started and they could call for fire trucks, which if you read the papers in both papers today, you would find that you probably wouldn't get a response because the fire department is down to bare bones. Luckily, no one was killed yesterday in the fire that occurred on West Erie.
And
But
Mr. Smith,
why would we, I'll be done in a minute, why would we spend taxpayer money, public funds? I think that's a gross misspending. I think it falls under the title of misfeasance. And if necessary to protect the citizens against misusing their money, I would seek legal remedy. I will not support this.
Can I elaborate on the size?
sure.
And again, off the top of my head, and Mr. Hawks jump in because I'm sure it's fresher in yours, but we did look at these numbers. And I believe Mrs. Miller's building was referenced, and I think you're built to accommodate 600 students, and I think right now, and it changes daily, you're in the 470s. And that's consistent with all three middle schools. So if we had we have two middle schools that were designed to accommodate 600 students, and General Johnny Wilson, I believe, was designed to accommodate 629 for whatever reason. But if we were to close one middle school, as was alluded to, and make that an alternative school, then with today's numbers, we would have over 1,400 students in two buildings that are designed to accommodate 1,200. So, and we also have Digital Academy it's in the mix there too. So the numbers just don't work out even year one.
In the Chronicle a couple of months ago, with numbers supplied by the school district, the anticipated enrollment at Longfellow was 353 students. You're telling me we picked up 100 students? I don't believe it. Sorry.
Okay, so,
And all of the buildings, am I right, Jeff, are built to accommodate at least 10 to 15% more than building capacity. Now, in the original contract, signed in 2001, there were supposed to be 4 middle schools, each with a capacity of 600. But one of those middle schools, Lorain Middle, was cut from the program. And I think at that time, they actually increased. I can remember Dean Nicola saying there were 650 buildings. So that's all.
okay, well, again, we appreciate those concerns. I think the administrators have heard those, and I'm, with all expectation, sure that they will do all due diligence to make sure that we are not in anything that any way that compromises the safety of our children or the integrity of anything. We have had numerous scenarios and different proposed solutions on the short term submitted to the board and discussed. And it is a recommendation of the administration that this is the most efficient way of addressing our short term situation. And we have trust and confidence that that is accurate. The numbers that have been printed that are the district's numbers, we expect there's a certain level of accuracy. And I don't remember, I didn't necessarily read what was in the Chronicle, but we don't usually get our information from the Chronicle.
I asked the reporter, Mr. Williams, and she got the information from Charleston.
Mr. Smith, I'm not
So,
rebutting, I'm clarifying
Don't be
things.
bad-mouthing the Chronicle.
I'm not bad-mouthing the Chronicle, Mr.
Sounded like
Smith.
it.
No, well, that might have sounded like it to you. So again, we appreciate what the Chronicle and the Journal and local media does. Again, when we receive numbers, be it numbers of student enrollment, financial numbers, we get those directly from the administration, and that's where we get our numbers from. That's what I'm saying is our source, our origin.
Well,
is
we
not
haven't
the-
gotten any yet in writing.
So I would like to call this to a vote.
I
There's
do
more,
have-
any more discussion?
I do have one more discussion. I guess the 2 points on here that concern me would be, I'm certain that there's going to be a lot of infrastructure that we're going to have to put into the school. So I'm not really sure if it makes sense for us to have be responsible for paying a security deposit. Maybe, that may be something as we get into the negotiation we could talk about. And then taking over 95% of their utility cost. I would be really interested in knowing what they're paying for their utilities now. I would, if we can get an average of 3 or 4 years of what they've been paying since the other school's been out, and then we take from there and pay the premium of that, I think that would be a more accurate number for us to pay in utilities versus this being just another way of increasing the rent by us paying 95% of the total utility cost.
Yeah, and I would expect that we'll get some more clarification in that final lease, but I think those things should be considered, even to the point of looking at the numbers as they are the last 3 years, and also going back and looking at the numbers when it was occupied.
Yes.
We know inflation has occurred, a lot of things, but yeah, how to flesh that out, you know, I'm sure they'll do due diligence in trying to make sure that we're not paying more than our share.
We have those numbers calculated, we'll provide those to you.
Thank you.
Any other questions?
And who will the lease be? Who will be the lessor?
To my knowledge, and I can stand corrected, it is the Catholic Diocese.
Oh, they own the building. I would assume that's who it would be.
Yes.
All Catholic property is owned by the diocese, not parishes.
Yes, sir. Any other comments or questions, gentlemen?
This is just a letter of intent, right?
Letter of intent, yep.
Okay.
This will allow all the expeditious work to go forward. The terms, again, are not finalized, but what is here is what the intentions are. So anything else we'll get further feedback on in the very near future. So if we can call this to a vote. Do I have a, who motioned? Can I have a motion?
Motion to approve.
Support.
After no more discussion, roll call, please.
Mr. Williams?
Yes.
Mr. Sturgill?
Yes.
Mr. Ballard?
Yes.
Mr. Smith?
No.
Thank you. And that concludes our business for the morning. Our next regular board meeting is scheduled for, is it the 18th?
Yes.
At 6:30 p.m. right here in Charleston. May I have a motion for adjournment, please?
Motion to adjourn.
Support.
Roll call, please.
Mr. Williams?
Yes.
Mr. Sturgill?
Yes.
Mr. Ballard?
Yes.
Mr. Smith?
Yes.
This has been a production of Lorain City Schools TV 20 WLCS.
To purchase a high-quality copy of the program you just viewed, please call Lorain City Schools Television at 282-8400.